The Mello TV Evening News at 8 is brought to you by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Coronavirus is in Jamaica, and I know you feel scared and worried. But you can't let COVID-19 divide us. Coronavirus infects all kinds of people. It doesn't discriminate. So why should you? When someone coughs or sneezes or shows signs of the virus, tell them to call 888-1-LOVE immediately. And remember, stay 3 feet away, but don't attack or disrespect them, because we're all in this thing together. Come on, Jamaica, cut the hate and don't discriminate. Let us stand together and fight COVID-19 as one family, one nation.
Tonight on Decision 2020, join Nicole Hales with political analyst Paul Bourne and political commentator Linton Gordon as they discuss the highs and lows of the final general election debate. Still tonight, Meteorological Service of Jamaica says rain and thunderstorms are expected to affect the island starting tomorrow, possibly until Election Day on Thursday. And government releases new protocols under the Disaster Risk Management Order, allowing persons in quarantine and in isolation to vote. Good evening. As we continue our coverage of election activities on Decision 2020, join Nicole Hales tonight with political analyst, acting director of institutional research at the Northern Caribbean University, NCU, Paul Bourne, and political commentator Linton Gordon as they discuss the highs and lows of the final general election debate between Prime Minister and leader of the Jamaica Labour Party, Andrew Holness, and opposition leader and president of the People's National Party, Dr. Peter Phillips. Now our news team took to the streets to ask persons whom they thought won the debate. Here is what they had to say.
Peter Phillips, he stood his ground. I was expecting him to be, wavered, but I thought he won the debate. I must not take anything from Andrew Holness. However, I think that Dr. Peter Phillips won that debate.
I feel the Labour Party did an excellent job, the leader, Prime Minister. I mean, he spoke spot on with all the questions. He was well prepared, and because probably the work that he has done, so he had answers, ready for whatever he was asked for. So I think, but it's people, I'm not from here, I'm a foreigner, but it's up to the people to decide what they have seen on ground zero, on a ground reality, what work has actually been done for the people. But based on the questions and based on the answers given, I believe the Labour Party has done an excellent job.
A debate is run not by hype, but with a credible manifesto and a credible debate. We deal with facts, not PR stunts. When you come to a debate, you don't come behave like your pedigree versus downtown. Come with class, you're a prime minister, you're a statesman. You're in politics long enough to learn the thing now. You're not presenting the years. Dr. Phillips would have done more better than him because he has done more work in ministry like Minister of Health, Minister of Security. He has done a very good job there. And he's the right man to run the country now. And about him age, he's the right man to run the country. He has taken us from an IMF problem and put it back on track. And give the GLP a platform to build houses offer and build roads offer. So I give Dr. Phillips. Hands on, I give Dr. Phillips.
To be Mr. Hanjo, the Prime Minister. Yes, he's the one that win the debate. I can understand him clearly.
Yeah, I thought that Andrew Holness won the debate. He was clear and articulate on the number of points he raised.
Still making news tonight, head of the weather branch at the Meteorological Service of Jamaica, Rohan Brown, says rain and thunderstorms are expected to affect the island starting tomorrow and possibly into Election Day on Thursday.
So there is an area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave that is across the central Caribbean. Now, this system has a large area of showers and thunderstorms, which is moving towards the west. As it moves towards the west, it will come into the Jamaica area sometime Tuesday, and because of the extent of the system, we will have scattered showers and thunderstorms across the island Tuesday and Wednesday, and this could linger into Thursday as well. It is just an area of low pressure associated with a tropical wave. But as it moves across the west, the area will become more conducive for development, and there is a possibility that within the next 48 hours, it could become a tropical depression, either south or southwest of us as it moves west and away from the island. So as the system moves towards the west, projections are for showers and thunderstorms to begin on Tuesday, continuing into Wednesday and lingering into Thursday. So we're going to get those shower activity. As well, you could see periods of gusty winds across the island, and again, this could linger into Thursday, election day. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we're expecting showers and thunderstorms to affect the entire island. And then on Thursday, mainly central and western parishes. However, you could still have some activity in the east. So the forecast is for moderate showers and thunderstorms to affect the island on Thursday. That is election day.
In other news tonight, the government has released new protocols under the Disaster Risk Management Enforcement Measures Order 2020, under which persons required to remain in quarantine and who are required to remain in isolation from other persons were allowed to vote in today's Special Services election and will also be allowed to vote in the general election on September 3. Now, in a statement released by the Office of the Prime Minister late last night, it outlined that persons who are required to remain in quarantine other than persons who are required to remain in isolation from other persons may leave quarantine once during the hours of 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. for the purpose of voting in the general election on September 3. And persons who are required to remain in quarantine in isolation from other persons may leave quarantine once for the purpose of voting during the hours of 4 to 5 p.m. in the general election and shall immediately after voting return to quarantine in isolation from other persons. In addition, they are required to comply with strict guidelines, including the mandatory wearing of a mask fitted to cover the nose and mouth, a face shield, gloves, and a disposable gown. Before leaving quarantine, these persons must notify the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 888-1-LOVE, that is 888-663-5683, 888-754-7792, 888-542-5998, or 876-542-6006. In other news tonight, former Cabinet Minister Dr. D.K. Duncan has been admitted to hospital after testing positive for COVID-19. His family, in a statement yesterday, said that after experiencing some signs of sinusitis and tiredness, Duncan took a coronavirus test and the preliminary results came back positive. Duncan, who is the father of the People's National Party's candidates Patricia Duncan Sutherland and Imani Duncan Price, had been working from home and had minimized contact with other individuals since experiencing symptoms, the statement said, adding that neither of his daughters had been in physical contact with him during that time. The statement further said that his wife, Beverly Duncan, has self-quarantined as she has been supporting him throughout this period. Meanwhile, political ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown is reporting that she has tested positive for COVID-19. Parchment Brown, who expressed that staff members were tested recently, arising from a possible exposure, says her result returned positive and as such, she is in isolation until recovery. Parchment Brown added that the office would be deep cleaned today and also possibly the Houses of Parliament, since there is some interaction between both sets of personnel. She says she and her staff are working remotely and will continue to work closely with critical stakeholders. In news from St. Andrew, the University of Technology's UTEX Jamaica Pepin campus was reportedly closed today with immediate effect due to a confirmed COVID-19 case on the campus. Now, acting president of UTech Jamaica, Professor Colin Giles made the announcement earlier today in a released statement. The statement further outlined that no one will be permitted to enter the campus during this closure. Classes and services will be delivered online. As we go to news from St. Catherine, employees of Conduent's Portmore's office at Nago's Head have again been advised by management that a member of staff has tested positive for COVID-19. Conduent is the largest business process outsourcing BPO firm in Jamaica. The company, in an email today, said it has confirmed the case at the Nago Head site and has begun contact tracing all affected employees. The company says that they will be sent home until they have completed either the 14-day quarantine period or have been tested. The company noted that the Ministry of Health and Wellness has been informed and has intensified sanitization exercises. Continuing with the news tonight, 5 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed at the Horizon Adult Remand Center, a maximum security facility based on Spanish Town Road in Lower St. Andrew. The Horizon cases involve inmates and at least 1 correctional officer. In news from Manchester, the police are appealing to farmers who may have been victims of goat theft to make contact with them immediately. More on this story with Tamara McHale.
The Manchester police are appealing to farmers who may have been victims of goat thieves, especially in and around the New Green area of the parish, to make contact with them immediately. The appeal comes as 2 suspected goat thieves were arrested and 26 goats recovered in New Green in the parish about 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. The men were arrested when a police team went to investigate a farmer's report of his animals being stolen. Following investigative leads, the team went to the New Acres community in New Green, where the stolen goats reported as well as others suspected to be stolen were recovered. A Honda motor car believed to have been used to commit the crime was seized. The police are asking persons who wish to come forward to identify their goats to contact the Mandeville Police at 876-961-5538 or 876-962-2250. For Mello TV News, I am Tamara McHale.
Still tonight, the Transport Authority has extended the amnesty for road licenses that have expired March 31, 2019 to operators of both public passenger vehicles and commercial carriers until September 30, 2020. Now, the initial period for the amnesty was between July 20 and August 31, 2020. However, the Transport Authority has extended the amnesty by 1 month to facilitate those persons who have not yet taken up the offer. Now, as a further incentive, no late fees will be charged during the period of the amnesty. The Transport Authority urges especially operators of public passenger vehicles who are affected to take advantage of the opportunity to renew their licenses and legitimize their operations, as failure to do so will result in the licenses being invalid once the amnesty period has ended. And those were the stories making news. I am Shelley Ann Hill. We will now join Nicole Hales with Decision 2020.